All right. Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful day here in Oklahoma, at least looks like it is. We had such a windy, ferocious day yesterday with lots of dust. In fact, I thought we were in the Dust Bowl again. But all right, last week we covered part one of identifying the MTHFR gene with your AO scan. Today we're going to cover part two. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I was talking to someone earlier. This is going to be quite a series because I'm doing this not only to educate others, but I'm also educating myself and trying to figure out my own system. And it has been a beautiful thing for me to do the research on this and learn because I'm finding out that I too have this gene. And I just want to help others and help my husband. My husband has it as well, and I know our kids probably do too. So what it is, I'm going to go over this again. What is MTHFR? And if you missed last week, please go ahead and go to my YouTube channel and find the presentation from last week. It was 325 when we did that, March 25th, and you can go and rewatch that. But if you're here from my second one, then you watched my first one or with us on the first one, I'm just going to recap what MTHFR is. So methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase, or MTHFR, is an enzyme that breaks down the amino acid homocysteine. If the MTHFR gene that codes for this enzyme mutates, it may contribute to a variety of health conditions ranging from depression to even some cancers. So, chances of having the MTHFR gene mutation. As mentioned previously, populations who have the MTHFR gene defect are over 50% generally. Some countries have higher rates than others, which vary depending on ethnicity. If you can relate to any of the symptoms on the previous slides, you should get tested. Oh, wow, I didn't look at that, didn't see that little typo. Or start to connect the markers in your AO scanner so that you know one way or the other. This is a very important thing to do to start preventing serious diseases. So, along with the markers that we talked about last week, there are several. Oops, this is touchy. Get out. Get out of here. Let me move my little boxes here. Along with the markers we talked about last week, there are several other medical indicators that can indicate the possibility of having the MTHFR mutation. We covered some of them last year, but we're also going to cover some blood work markers. So here's a basic guide to look for clues based on common medical tests such as blood tests, or you can even use your AO scan and look at those markers. So when you do a blood test or when you run your vital scan, do you have elevated red cell folate levels? Is your serum B12 less than 500? Do you have chronic low white blood cell count, neutrophils, or lymphocytes? And all of these are in your vitals. Do you have increased mean corpuscular volume, or the MCV, greater than 90, high red blood cell count, or blood cell count? You have increased red blood cell distribution width, or RDWs, greater than 13%. Do you have low hemoglobin, which is lower than 140 for males or 135 for females? And we have to consider that sometimes with blood work, and I know Becky Coots has an amazing blood work course that you can take where she kind of helps you to understand that even though you may go get some blood work done, typically blood work is a little skewed. So you can also take her course to kind of understand blood work markers a little bit closer. So I'd really encourage you maybe to look at that course with her. You have elevated homocysteine levels. Levels over 7 to 8 are considered high. Do you have vitamin B12 deficiency symptoms despite a normal serum B12 count, such as poor health, hair condition, eczema, dermatitis, mouth oversensitive to heat or cold, irritability, anxiety, and tension, further lack of energy, constipation, tender or sore muscles, pale skin, high homocysteine levels or homocysteine levels over 12 indicate a B12 deficiency. So do you have increased creatine kinase? Those are all some of the different markers you can kind of check in your vitals, and just start making a, do your spreadsheet and start highlighting those on your spreadsheet and consistently watch them over time. You're going to find these markers. So we're going to go into some other common conditions that result from the MTHFR. So here are some of them: alcohol withdrawal, seizure, muscle tension after alcohol withdrawal, autism, increased risk of blood clots, cardiovascular disease or coronary artery disease, thromboembolism, heart disease, arteriosclerosis, myocardial infarction, colorectal neoplasias, common MTHFR anxiety disorder, dementia and memory loss, depression, anxiety, and or irritability, developmental delays, hypertension, high homocysteine levels or low homocysteine levels. So you're kind of getting a pretty much a picture here. It's all about the homocysteine levels. Increased breast cancer risk, women over 55 years of age, infertility and miscarriage, methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase deficiency, neural tube defects and other birth defects, peripheral neuropathy, reduced lean body mass and increased body fat, schizophrenia, and stroke are just some of the things. Other conditions related to the MTHFR variants. So we know that we have two of the main ones, but there are also variants. So there are many health conditions related to the MTHFR gene variants. This is because MTHFR gene variants can alter many important processes in the body. The body uses methylation to stay healthy. Methylation is extremely important because it involves the homocysteine cycle, which essentially helps us stay healthy. When this cycle is interrupted by MTHFR gene variants, there can be many symptoms or conditions as a result, including imbalances in levels of homocysteine, including high homocysteine levels and or low homocysteine levels. Problems can occur that result in two categories. One is called overmethylation, and the other is considered undermethylation. People with the genetic disorder can experience symptoms from one or even both of them. So here are the different undermethylation symptoms. So ADD, ADHD, addictive behavior, allergic reactions, aging, anorexia, Alzheimer's disease, anxiety, asthma, autism, autoimmune disease, bipolar disease, bulimia, cancer, chronic degenerative diseases. Can't read that down there. Chronic fatigue, cleft palate, diabetes, Down syndrome, delusions, depression, poor detoxification. Poor detoxification is one of the biggest ones. Fibromyalgia, headaches, infertility, joint stiffness, pain, swelling, insomnia, muscle pains, low neurotransmitters, obesity or weight gain, obsessive compulsive disease, oppositional defiant disorder, pain, phobias, PCOS, psychosis, schizophrenia, recurrent pregnancy loss, miscarriage, and thyroid. Those are all, and when I looked at this list, I was like, I can name a whole bunch of people with a lot of these different things. So where do we even start? So it can be a little daunting, but just realize these are some of the things that you, as practitioners, you can put on your checklist and ask your clients, are any of these the things that you're dealing with? Let's go over the over-methylation issues. And we talked about this earlier. Headaches, migraines, rashes, irritability, increase in anxiety, joint pain, muscle pain, insomnia, depression, maybe suicidal, nausea, seizures, vomiting, stomach pain, sweating, rash, hypokalemia, palpitations. So using this information, you can start to gather what symptoms you or your clients may be experiencing in order to help them. So like I said, make a list. Check off if any of these are some of your symptoms. If they are, chances are you're probably dealing with this. And if it's not this, it could be detoxification pathway issues. It can also be leaky gut issues. So don't just automatically assume that you have MTHFR based on these different symptoms, because a lot of these symptoms also match these other conditions, such as leaky gut, such as, you know, detoxification issues. So we're really going to dig deep into this and kind of figure out, using kind of a guideline. Well, where do I start? How do I figure this out? So MTHFR, infertility and miscarriages. This is a big one, I think, that happens with a lot of people. So one of the other indicators of having one or more of the MTHFR gene mutations is the inability to get pregnant. MTHFR mutations are often a big part of having a history of miscarriage or a family history of miscarriage. Folate or folic acid plays a significant role in pregnancy and developmental problems. For those that have active MTHFR variants, will often have an inability to properly use folate. A mutation may lower the conversion of folate to active folate. If you've been trying to get pregnant unsuccessfully, if you've had any of one or more miscarriages, or you have a history of miscarriages, get yourself tested or use that AO scanner and really start digging into those markers. I mean, some of the tests are pretty inexpensive to do, but you have a beautiful tool in your hand, so use it. Save yourself some money. So it's really simple. If you're dealing with infertility, you miscarry, you find it hard to get pregnant, you tried the internet, you've tried supplements, you've tried getting other doctors involved, you've had the IVF and still can't get pregnant and or maintain a pregnancy to its full term, something is wrong and it's not your fault. So every day, thousands of people who plan to one day have children of their own and end up on the cycle of disappointment. And it's really important to understand that the reason you are having so much trouble is because you just don't know what you just don't know. This might sound obvious, however, there's much more to your pregnancy problems that meets the eye unless you know where to look. And that's the encouragement here. Use your AO scanner. Start connecting those dots. Your AO scanner can guide you and your clients to identifying these markers in your reports. So mental illness is another big problem, an MTHFR gene variant. And I'm going to share just something with me. I have had mental illness almost my entire life. I'm not going to get into the details, but I had a very dark background where, I've had from age 2 on, I was, abused as a child. So I've had to deal with mental illness for a long time. But I noticed when I got on my health journey and started cleaning up my diet, number one, getting my water in, getting sunshine, grounding, doing all the things that we as holistic practitioners love to tell our clients to do, that started making a big change in me. Now I can start to uncover what really is going on. So maybe with mental health and maybe some of these other things, just doing some of the basic things to get your health on track will start to reduce some of those symptoms so that you can start to uncover what else is going on. So people with MTHFR mutations and or the MTHFR gene mutation have a greater chance of becoming mentally ill. This is because the brain requires optimal functioning of folate, all vitamin B groups, amino acids, essential fatty acids, and proper methylation to function properly. Those who experience any of the symptoms below related to mental health are strongly encouraged to test for the MTHFR gene mutations. Some of these symptoms include depression, anxiety, mood swings, bipolar disorder, ADD, common MTHFR A1298C mutations, especially homozygous, suicidal thoughts, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, learning difficulties, addictive behavior, schizophrenia, just to name a few. So, and I know, with a lot of everything in the medical, we all have these titles. They have these titles or these things that they'll plaster on you when really the underlying cause may be something else. These are just symptoms. Um, so we don't want to just treat the symptoms. Finding the root to MTHFR will allow you and your clients to live a healthy, productive life. One of the key problems of having the MTHFR gene mutation is nutritional damage. Those with the condition will have abnormal nutritional imbalances and special needs for certain nutrients and nutritional support. Correcting the diet and adding the needed nutrients will be a great start. Working with a practitioner, if you really don't know where to turn, or really digging into your scanner reports and connecting all the nutritional imbalances is going to be vital for you and your clients. You all have what you need in your scanners to do this. It may take some time, but I promise you have all the tools. So first things first, adding folate with food. Foods high in folate should form the basis of the daily MTHFR meal plan. This means plenty of dark leafy greens such as spinach, kale, legumes such as beans and lentils, broccoli, asparagus, and avocado. Now, some of you might be cringing right now because number one, we need to remember if any of these food items are causing you issues, you're going to have to look a little deeper at your gut health first. So vitamins B6 and B12 are also crucial. These two nutrients work alongside folate in the methylation cycle, reducing homocysteine levels and supporting detoxification pathways. Now, here's a little key. With B6 and B12, what you can start doing is maybe imprinting that with your sugar pellets and taking that in so that the body starts to recognize those frequencies. Because number one, you're going to have a methylated form of this. So you might want to start doing the frequencies, taking that in first to get the body to recognize it because it's not been able to use or utilize these two nutrients to begin with because of all the other problems going on. So increased intake of folate, vitamin B6, B12, and betaine has been shown to help control or alleviate the risk of elevated homocysteine. In addition to these B vitamins, a range of other nutrients can help reduce the homocysteine and assist with the methylation process. So, foods to avoid with MTHFR. Those with MTHFR should avoid foods fortified with folic acid, this synthetic form of folate. The body is unable to properly convert folic acid into its active form, which can result in a buildup of folic acid in the body. Folic acid is added to many fortified breads, cereals, pasta, and other grain products. Please check your labels carefully. Reduce intake of inflammatory foods such as sugar, gluten, refined grains, dairy, trans fats, and processed snacks, which hopefully most of us aren't even using these things because that is part of the problem with the nutrition. Those with gluten sensitivity and MTHFR can suffer a double blow as the symptoms of both can amplify one another. Gluten is also a major cause of inflammation in the gut lining and the microbiome. And we know that the brain and the microbiome are both very connected and they work together. So removing these food items is going to be a huge help. Looking at Becky Coots' food sensitivities, following how to look at that is going to be a huge addition to your education. So if you've not followed her, please go follow her. She just covered food sensitivities again in Day of Discovery. She is a powerhouse of information. So please, please look at her information. She has really got this down. So she has definitely helped me. So next week, we're going to cover more on which supplements are great to add to your daily routine. And ideally, we want to get everything through our diet with food. However, sometimes we need additional support until we can get leveled out. So some of the supplements that we're going to look at is L-methylfolate, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, trimethyl trimethylglycine or TMG betaine, NAC, taurine, and omega 3s. So those are just some of the things. But like I said to begin with, this is going to be an ongoing series. So I don't want y'all to think that, wow, that's all she gave us today. But we're going to go in deeper. We're going to keep digging a little deeper. I'm going to actually share some of my older scans and compare them to my newer scans. I was telling Cher before I started the recording um, that we were taking the unmethylated prime, think, and pro. Well, think and pro aren't methylated, but the prime is methylated. We had been taking that ever since it came out, and what I did notice is every time I took it first thing in the morning, and then in my first urine after that, there was lots of yellow in the toilet, and I thought, well, I'm not even using these, because that's a telltale sign that you're not using what you're taking if you just see it in the toilet. So it's expensive toilet water. Um, so when we started the methylated, and we've been on it probably going almost on our third week, I'm already noticing there's no yellow in the toilet after I use the restroom. I'm also noticing I feel better. I don't know. I don't know how to pinpoint it other than a lot of times I was having a lot of pains in my lower legs. And I know that's because I'm sitting a lot doing the work that I do, but I do try to get up and do some activities. But I'm noticing a lot less joint pain. Noticing a lot less brain fog. I'm more focused. So our supplements with Solex are amazing. So I would really encourage you to start them and then start tracking your scans. So I'm going to go over the disclaimer real quick. The AO scan technology is not a medical device, nor is it diagnostic. These statements that I have discussed today have not been evaluated by the FDA. This information shared in this presentation is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So you have an AO scanner. It is very, very educational. You can use it to connect the dots. Again, it's not diagnostic, but it's going to help you figure out what the heck is going on. How do I help myself? So I'm going to look at the chat real quick. If you guys have any questions, please unmute, ask away.
Tammy, what was the product that you were just talking about? I didn't have my pen and paper handy.
It's Solex's Prime. I don't think I have a bottle of it up here. I used to have some empty bottles of it. I've cleaned up my office. Scott, can you bring me the Prime?
But it's the methylated one, you said, right?
Yeah, it's methylate. We have two in the back office. You have the regular one, and then you have the other one, and it's a green. I think it's a green label, and it's the methylated one. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay, that's what I was just looking at when you um were talking about it. I hurried up and grabbed my phone because I always have a headset on. So I hurried up and grabbed my phone and started researching my back office. So I just want to write that down quick.
And
Because
they have the combo, and that's what we take is the combo, the Prime, the Think, and the omegas, because we're also going to talk next week about the omegas. You need omegas when you have MTHFR. So did I not share my screen?
yeah, you had it shared. I saw
Oh,
it
okay.
anyway.
Yeah, I just wanted you to unshare it so that we can see more of you and everybody else.
Absolutely.
That's good. Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, you need the omegas. So that, I mean, you might as well go ahead and you get a little bit of a savings when you do all three of them. And they work synergistically together. So you're going to start feeling a lot different when you take all three of those together. I mean, that's what I noticed. Is like, oh my gosh, this is like a win-win. I mean, I've taken lots of supplements, and I am not one to take supplements. Let me tell you, I would much rather eat the foods and get my stuff that way. But in all honesty, supplements are not a big thing for me. But doing this is helping me to realize how much better I feel, and the scanner is changing. So, with that being said, you're going to be able to start to see those markers start to increase and do better and improve over time, especially if you're supplementing. And then it's going to give you time to just kind of relax and do your research and be able to connect those dots until you can get to full speed. You know what I'm saying? Because we've got to supplement until we can get everything figured out. At least that's what I'm figuring out for myself. Because you can go without taking stuff, but in all honesty, you need to really support yourself.
So I do another network business, and we focus on the pet food side of it, but we also have a human side of it, and I already take fish oil and a multivitamin and a probiotic. But I'm sitting here wondering, what's the difference? Like, I mean, obviously we sit here and we could say, oh, take this because it's better and it's better and it's better. And I've learned all of this on one side of it, through my other network of marketing, but on the Solex side of it, I haven't even started touching those. Like I said, I just started taking gold yesterday, and I am horrible about eating. Like, I get up in the morning and I do my regular routine. I have my coffee, and I started adding gold into that yesterday. I was outside from 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I did not come in until like almost 4 o'clock yesterday. I had so much energy. I was running. I mean, I run a farm. We have a farm here. So I was constantly going. I didn't stop to eat anything. I was just like, okay, now I'm going to do this and this and this. And then I come home and get in the house, and I'm like, I haven't ate anything all day. So that's why I'm all for supplements, but how do we
I can tell you one thing because I've been involved in a lot of different network marketing companies as well. And one of the things that I love about Lauren, and he has said this multiple times, when he goes and looks for something to use as a supplement, he's going to find the best that there is. And I think he even said that everything that he has derived in our supplements so far is actually coming from the Amazon, not Amazon, not not the shopping link, but it's coming from the Amazon forest. So he's using the best of the best with everything. There's no fillers in our supplements, where a lot of companies will use fillers because it's cheaper and you can spread it out a little bit more. Lauren's not about that. And I have significantly seen a difference, because if you'll look at the labels on our supplements and then look at the labels on what you're taking, and if they're very similar, but you're not getting as great of an impact with the ones you're taking, it's probably because it has some fillers. So you're not getting as much of it. Um, I, do the research. Just kind of look at the different things. At first I was like, well, I take an omega-3. Why do I need to take Solexes? Well, I switched it out, and I honestly feel like it's a lot better. I don't know how to explain it. I think just try it and see what your body does with it. I think you're going to find that the supplements that Solex has, it's not about how much money they can make with it, which most companies it's that way. It's more about, how do I support these people that have got the scanner and they're seeing all these markers? Because if you're looking at your markers and you're not seeing an increase or an improvement, then chances are the supplements you're taking are not working. And that is what I found. I've been taking supplements for a long time, different ones that I know that I need, but nothing changed on my scanner. And I'm like, okay, so, and one of the clues that helped me with that was what Becky had said, or even Nadia, I think it was even Nadia. She says, check your scanner when you're taking a certain vitamin and track it and see if you're having an increase or an improvement. And if you're not, it's probably not working. I went, oh, okay. So then I backed up, and then I would start muscle testing myself, and came to find out that the supplements that I was using, even though I muscle tested okay or beneficial and effective, I wasn't even muscle testing that it was tolerable for me. And I'm like, okay. So I really started to reevaluate the things that I had in my cabinet And I started trashing some of the stuff that I had because it wasn't working for me. And I was paying a lot of money for some of this stuff. And now I've started switching things out. And when things don't work and I don't start seeing an improvement in it, I trash it and I scratch it and start all over and try to find something different. And till I start seeing those markers improve. So you have the markers in your scanner. Watch them.
And that's what I was curious about because I mean, obviously, I know the quality difference because of being having the pet nutrition side of it, but the
Sure.
scanner I'm still very fresh to. And I finally oh my gosh, I finally uploaded my vitamins into my scanner, and I was using my scanner religiously, and then I got out of it for a couple days, and I'm like, this is stupid. I can tell in my attitude, I
Yeah.
can tell in my patience, like I got to get back on this.
Yep.
But something I have noticed is I fish oil. It's having me take 4 in the morning, 4 at night, and I'm sitting here like, holy crikeys, and I'm muscle testing myself as well when the scanner tells me to take it. And I'm like, I think on the back of it it recommends 2, but
Okay, so
I
that's a
like,
telltale sign right there.
and that's why when you just said I have leg issues from sitting down, I don't sit down much because I'm out on the farm doing stuff, but my knees are killing me. I'm 38.
Yeah.
My knees are killing me. I have brain fog because I have so much to remember, but I feel like I'm running in circles. And that's why I asked which prime, because I'm like, this might be the other answer that I need to be looking at rather
And
than.
remember, Tony, the omegas are amazing for the brain and the brain fog. So if you're not getting a good omega, you're going to have that brain fog. So that in itself is another telltale sign to me that if you're taking omegas and you have brain fog, that omega is not working. It's not
that's
working.
that's exactly what I've been feeling like the last few days. I'm like, okay, I got to look at something else, and that's why I was curious about all this because I was like, okay, yep, we're gonna look at this, and um, great information as always, Tammy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're so
Always wonderful to
welcome.
be here.
I'm glad you're here. You know, that has been, I mean, like I said, I was taking supplements, but I was noticing there was no improvement on those certain markers or whatever, vitamins I was taking. I was watching them, and I've been playing around with a thyroid or with an iodine as well. And I've taken some different iodines, but I have not found one that my body likes yet. I'm still working on that because I have a thyroid deficiency, always have. So that is another thing that I am trying to figure out. What do I need to start with a thyroid? Because, and I'm telling you, you even though you might test it beneficial, effective, and tolerable, you can even throw in the word curable for yourself, since you're working with your own self. So ask your body those questions, and if it tests well, go ahead, take it home, start using it, looking at the markers, really, monitoring those things, and it's going to help you uncover if it's good or bad, or if your body's utilizing it. And maybe it could also be, Tony and everybody here, even though it might be a good supplement, maybe you have something else underlying that your body's not assimilating that supplement. So that you might have to do a little bit more digging and go, okay, well, this is a really fantastic supplement, but how come my body's not using it? What's stopping the process there? So you just may have to do a little bit more digging, but I promise you'll figure it out over time. It takes some time, but good Lord, could you imagine if you went to the doctor every time and said, look, I'm taking this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and most generally they go, well, we don't even know how to help you. So, but you have something in your hands right now that you can start monitoring and really focusing in on so that you can figure out what is going on with yourself. And if you uncover it for yourself, you're going to be able to help your clients a lot better. I was even talking to Cher earlier about that. Is that's part of my story is I want to be able to uncover what's going on with me. I'm my biggest puzzle. I eat healthy. I do all the beautiful things. 3 years ago, you wouldn't even like to have seen me because I was such a negative, horrible. And I say that lightly only because I just was in a very depressed state. I was just very sick. But once I started with the scanner and I started doing all the things, I took my holistic health coach certification and started learning about the body more and started incorporating the simple things, water, minerals, amino acids, the vitamins that you need. All of those things started making me feel a lot better. And then my scan results started improving too. So you have an amazing tool. I just can't say it enough. You have an amazing tool. Use it. Any other questions or anything I can help you with?
Okay. Why is it always me asking questions?
That's okay. I bet your questions is helping somebody else.
So again, I just got the scanner in like December. I'm learning as much as I can, money allows. So I just did phase 1. My next step obviously is phase 2. I go back and I listen to I did Day of Discovery, and I go back and listen to YouTube's and previous recordings and stuff for Wednesday nights and everything. So my next question would be, and that's where I feel like I want to help so many people. I've been through hell and high waters for 20 years, and I have noticed a huge difference, and I am more homeopathic than and my family probably thinks I'm crazy, but that's okay. So my next step is obviously phase 2, phase 3, when the money allows. And I know Becky also does those trainings on her site and stuff.
Yeah.
But at what point do you or did you feel that you need to go get your holistic health coaching? Like did you do all of the phases first, and then did you do any of Becky's? Like,
no.
I feel like there's so much coming at me and I don't know where to go.
What I did, and I'll just share what I did. I got started with the scanner in September of 2020. And the reason why I did it is because I was already practicing iridology and using that with my clients. But then once I saw the scan results, I was like, holy cow, this is going to really help me with my clients. But then as I was moving along with that, I was like, I need a little bit more help here because I had pretty much put all of my dreams aside while I was raising my kids. My boys are now grown. And I always wanted to be a doctor. But I just didn't, I didn't have the money for it. I didn't have the time. I was homeschooling my kids. So I put all my dreams aside. And I did a lot of research along the way. And a lot of people say, gosh, Timmy, you've got a lot of knowledge. I do. I have a lot of knowledge because I've always done a lot of research and I love the human body. But what was lacking was I had no way to coach people because as an iridologist, all you can do is read the eyes. You can't suggest anything. You can't do anything like that. So then I went ahead and saw Karen. Her last name is Zymer now. It used to be Urbanak. On one of very early calls with Solex before we even had the YouTube. We actually did it on Zoom, and I saw her on a call early on. I think it was I can tell you it's probably October of 2020, and I thought I need to learn from that lady, and I looked her up and I joined Holistic Health Educators and actually enrolled in every one of their classes. And then I started referring people to her and helping her, build, what she's got going too, and got my holistic health education or my holistic health certification that way. And that just kind of blew everything up for me. And then I started getting more and more serious. Well, Becky and Nadia took it with me too. They took all this stuff with me too, and they're part of the holistic health educators as well. And then I got introduced to our upline, which is Dr. Charles McWilliams, and he is a medical doctor. But I'm going to tell you, he's intense, and he's not for everybody. But I'm also taking my doctorate of monastic medicine and my doctorate of homeopathy with him. I've already had a lot of background training with homeopathy. So I just had a lot of this, Tony. I had a lot of this floating around in my head, but I wanted to be able to help clients more. So I guess I tell you this, whatever your goals are in life, that's what you've got to prioritize. My priority is to help more people. If that's not where you're going with it, then don't enroll. But I would enroll definitely maybe in the 10-step program with holistic health educators. It's going to give you enough information to help you kind of put things together so that you know how to help yourself. So if you need a little education on that, that is a great place to start. Becky Coots has amazing courses as well, but knowing where to start with her may be a little bit more of a challenge. I'm not sure. Or you may even talk to her and ask her, which ones would you recommend me start with? But if there's a specific health condition that you're looking at, just really dig into it and start researching it. You're gonna figure it out pretty quick.
So where I'm at is I'm a dog breeder, used to compete in AKC. I have raced for almost 15 years. And I know the power of nutrition because of what my dogs have gone through in my program.
Right.
But also, I raise draft horses and have a carriage company as well. And I've gone through the nutritional side of that and also breeding side and trying to figure that stuff out. And at first I was like, okay, sorry, my daughter just got home. So this is where I was looking at first was, I'm going to look at this for animals. I'm going to do my animals. I want to help more people with their animals.
Yeah.
Because that's where my background is. But then the more I start healing and digging deep into myself, I'm sitting here like, I almost feel the last couple months that I'm going to back off of the animal side of things. And I want to help people more understand their mind. I mean, through all the verbal, mental, emotional, and physical abuse that I have been through in the last 20 years, it's like, I know I can help more people. And at first, my husband was kind of like, oh, this is interesting. And now he has jumped on board. Like, we're getting help through Reiki, we're getting help through, and it's like so freeing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so when I was talking to him about the day of discovery in September, and I'm like, oh, prices go up, I guess, in April. And he goes, get a ticket bought, because I had heard through the grapevine that the tickets were getting less and less available, like almost sold out, supposedly. I haven't heard, that was a hearsay, but I was like, I need to be there. And he goes, okay, then hurry up and just get it. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, maybe you should be there because you're jumping on this too. But he looks at me like I'm the doctor teaching him. And I'm like, well, that's a problem because I have a lot to learn. But back to the classes and stuff, obviously I need to continue doing the phases to continue to open up the process through all of the AO scan to keep unlocking everything, and then look at the 10-step program then.
I think that that's a great start, and I don't think that you're going to be, you won't regret anything that you do with your scanner. You just won't, because Deborah Bruce is in the next phase that you're just absolutely going to love, and she's going to help you understand some health things. But if you're wanting to go a little bit deeper, then I would encourage you check into some of these other programs. I got lots of resources I can share with people, and there's lots of ways to learn. Just enough to get you going where you can start with something. But don't overwhelm yourself, because I know with myself, I'm just like, I want to take that, I want to take that, I want to take that. And before long, you've got all these courses and then you don't have any time to take them. So just start slow. You're doing amazing. Keep up with what you're doing, and then just add a few things as you go along.
Yes, and that's where I'm at. Like you said, I feel like I want to do this, this, and this, and then I'm not even, like, I need to slow down. But I'm one of those, when I'm ready to do something, I jump full in.
That's how I am.
And I want to hurry up and help more people, which stresses me out at times.
This is something that I started doing, and maybe this will help you. Just start with the inner voice. That is going to give you an edge on helping people, because believe it or not, the inner voice report has amazing information in it to help clients. And if you can get the basics down of water, minerals, movement, because the 10 steps really is just those things: water, movement, your mental health, sleep, hygiene, protect yourself from EMFs, your diet, your nutrition. Those are your basics of your 10 steps. And if you can work on that with your clients, along with doing the inner voice with them, because emotions are huge. I mean, if we don't get the emotions taken care of, we're going to continue having the disease processes manifesting. We already know that with Solex and with our scanners. If we're not working on the emotion side of it, we're not going to help ourselves very quickly. So start there. That's what I would say. And then just follow all these powerhouses. I mean, we've got Becky, we've got Nadia, we've got, myself, we've got all of us that have been using the scanner for going on the 3rd year now. And we can help you. We can mentor you. We can help you understand what your scan results are saying. I mean, don't be afraid to, message me and say, hey, I need a little help with this. Can you help me? I'd be happy to help. I'd be happy to help.
Okay. Thank you so much, because that's where I get confused too, is reading some of those sometimes. And
yeah.
But yes, I will definitely reach out then to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
And if I don't know the answer, I'd be happy to refer you to somebody that is a, kind of a master in that field and say, hey, I've got lots of people, lots of team members, and lots of people I can refer out. And I'm not afraid to refer out, because I'm not going to say that I know it all, because I don't. I'm on my own journey, and my purpose is just to help with our people.
Thank you, Tammy.
You're very welcome. All right, guys, any other questions before we are at the top of the hour? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm looking forward to everybody being there next week. And I just really appreciate you all being here. It's just an honor for me to be able to educate and help others kind of figure out what's going on with their bodies. So I love you guys, and look at you as family. So you guys have an incredible Saturday, and I'll talk to you next Saturday. Bye-bye.